Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create a lollipop chart in our language. So what we're going to do is we will open our studio. Right now, click on open. It should open a window. Now here we'll be making use of package ggplot. Now here make sure to call for library ggplot, and if you have not installed it, simply type in install packages and then type in ggplot2, right, and it should download the package, right. Also we will have to create a sample data, and considering here we are dealing with horizontal and vertical lollipop chart, so we'll be making our sample data accordingly, right. So once the package is installed, we can clear the console and let's create our script. Now here I'll be creating a sample data with set seed. Let's set to 1, then data frame that I wish to run is with data frame function. Now here x sets to letters 1 to 10, right. Next is we'll be using y coordinate here, and for that sample I'll be choosing 22 to 35 and 10, and also we'll be replacing if required set to true, right. So we have our data frame. Next thing will be creating, say, a basic chart out of this, right. So what we'll do is we will first create our data frame and run it. So let's run this. Then on next line we have our data, right. So 10 observation of 2 variables. Next thing we will basically import this library ggplot2, right. You will get that in autocomplete, right. And within that function of ggplot we will be passing data frame that we created earlier, right. Then we will use as set to x equal to x, y to y, right. We will have to point that out, and we will be also adding with plus sign, which is geom segment. So use underscore there. So segment. So for segment basically we will be again pointing x to x, and then x end set to x and y set to y. Okay, so y set to 0 here and y end set to y, right. So y end set to y, right. Now here again we will be adding one more, which is geom underscore point, right, and we will end this. So this should create basic lollipop chart. So let me first run the library import option, which is library ggplot. It should point to that which version it built for. Then geom segment, where we are passing our data frame, then as where x and y are set, then geom segment where we are setting respective x and x and value, y and y and value to, right, to their respective values, and finally we are also concatenating with geom point. So I'm going to select this entire statement here and run it. And if you check the plot tab here, So it will be showing you the list of observations here, right? So if you check, it also has A to J and 0 to 13, right? So here you may notice that this is the vertical lollipop chart. It doesn't have the text or label as of now, right? So we'll be taking a look at horizontal option as well, and then we will be looking at the custom label if required, right? But there are a lot of variation including the animate option. So if you are using ggplot and animate option, then you can literally make a time series where these bars will move, right? So let me remove this statement here. So for horizontal chart we'll be using df, right? Then AES x set to x, y set to y. Okay, so this part remains common. Then for concatenation, basically we'll be calling for geom segment. Okay, it should also give you that autocomplete option. So with AES x set to x and then x end set to x, right? And similarly for y, we have starting value from 0 actually and ends with y, right? So pretty much you will notice the output would be same up to this point, but now the coordinate flip part is required, right? So first we will try and put geom point, right, and concatenate this with coordinate flip. So coord flip, right? So here you see coord flip, so Cartesian coordinates with x and y flip. So what you see right now with the vertical, it will just flip that, right? Okay, so here what we can do is we can select all of this paragraph and run this, right? So we managed to create this with total horizontal option as well. So if you check the plot tab here in RStudio, so you have coordinate flipped, the values that you give for x and y will be as is, so that part is not flipped, only the view that we see here is flipped. Now what you can do is you can also animate this to start from 0 all the way up to this point. Also there is custom text option which we can take a look, and there are a few other variation of this, like have some sort of bar and also the value of that particular point up to this, right? So that these are variations are there which you can explore. Okay, so to add the custom text here, what we can do is we can write our typical statement for ggplot, AES set x to x and y to y, right? Also concatenating that with geom segment, right? Here we will be adding the same x set to x, then x end set to x, and then y set to 0, and then y end set to y. So this is pretty much the same up to this point, but a few more things to add would be the color, right? So color set to, let's say, gray color, right? So for that I think using double quote would be a good idea, and then let's see, we'll be also using LWD, set to 1, right? And then we will have to close the bracket, right? And here you will notice that we will have to use plus sign, right? Now we'll also have to use geom point, and we will have to set the size, let's say for 7.5 or something, and then set pch to 21 and background. Here as you can see we get the options, and here we also get suggestion as well on what to use. So bg4 column 1, right? Then concatenate this with your text, right? So geom text, right? And here we will have to set the label for our y coordinate, because that's where we are going to show the custom text, right? So label for y. Now here we can add by adding the comma, then color set to, let's say, white for that particular label text, right? And also we will be adding some sort of a size for that. I think 3 is good enough, right? Then finally we will have to use plus sign for concatenating again, then cell underscore x, and then discrete, right? And then labels. So for that we will be using, let's say, paste or this paste 0. So we can use this. So paste 0. So paste 0, within that we'll be using g underscore, and then we'll be using 1 to 10, right? And then let the bracket close there, and then concatenate this with coordinate flip, right? So this is the final function. If there are any errors, we will take a look at that. Now we can select this and we can run this to see if it draws something. So here you see we have our custom text label on our y coordinate, right? So this was for building lollipop chart using ggplot.